From mysterious prehistoric caves to the Ark of the Covenant and Jack the Ripper, here are 12 strange historical unsolved mysteries. 12. The Wolf's Egg Iron. In 1885, a strange object was discovered buried in coal at a local iron foundry in Wolf's Egg, Austria. Made of iron, the cuboid mass had a strange coloration, with many little holes and cracks in it, and a deep fissure that split the middle. After the mysterious object was turned over to the Heimathaus Museum, a professor there claimed the cube was part of a meteorite. Early accounts even referred to it as a fossil meteorite, but later reports from Vienna's Natural History Museum contradicted those findings. Studies from Vienna said the object was actually created artificially from an unidentified source material. Based on the age of the coal in which it was initially found, the odd object was estimated at some 20 million years old. An additional mystery surrounding this apparently out-of-place artifact is that it has been reported missing, supposedly as part of a conspiracy to keep its true origins from being debunked. In fact, the Wolf's Egg Iron, which is also known as the Salzburg Cube, has been residing at the Heimathaus Museum the whole time. 11. The ever-burning lamps. During the Middle Ages, lamps that burned without consuming fuel were discovered in various places around the world. The lamps were sealed into the tombs to help guide the deceased to the afterlife. When some of these tombs were opened hundreds of years later, the lamps were still burning. The phenomenon invoked superstitious panic in some people, leading them to destroy the lamps whenever they were found. A legend arose that Hebrew communities had actually discovered an energy source that we would call electricity. Lamps that needed no wick or fuel could be lit remotely by using an electrical current. Well, maybe, and maybe not. What is certain is that attempts to replicate the ever-burning lamps have failed. So, the ancient mystery remains. How did these lamps burn for so long without fuel? 10. The Lady of the Spiked Throne. Now, this is one of the most unique ancient artifacts ever discovered. In 2009, a private collector who owns the item invited an Italian archaeologist to confirm its authenticity. After doing so, analysis confirmed that the object dates to around 2700 BC. Overall, the artifact is shaped like a large boat, a chariot. The front terminates in the likeness of a bull's head. An official entourage or procession of 15 male and female individuals, many dressed in identical gowns, is represented. In the rear, a female figurine can be seen sitting on a throne of spikes, hence the name, and is clearly in a position of authority. Analysis confirmed that the artifact was created by the ancient Indus civilization, but it's still unclear just who the Lady of the Spiked Throne is, and the object's purpose and meaning still remains a mystery. 9. Panxian Dadong Caves. Now, these caves in southern China offered up a prehistoric mystery that experts still have yet to solve. The remains of massive creatures like stegodons and rhinoceros have been found deep within those caverns. Something considered strange, since the caves are located more than 5,200 feet above sea level. The elevation and location do not typically offer the type of location in which you would find such large, lumbering animals. Rhinos, in particular, are known to have a solitary nature, so it's unlikely they would casually wander into a cave, which begs the question, how did those creatures get there? It's possible that carnivorous animals killed the big mammals and dragged them back inside the caves, and that invites the possibility that humans were involved. Experts have found some of the animal bones were burnt and hammered with what could only have been a crafted stone tool. We couldn't find where any more evidence on the subject has been released. Since researchers last visited the cave in 1998, it might be a while before we get definitive answers. 8. Oak Island Mystery. Oak Island is located off Nova Scotia, Canada, and for more than 200 years, stories and speculation have swirled about it being the location of treasures that include Shakespearean manuscripts, Marie Antoinette's jewels, and valuable religious artifacts. In particular, the notorious pirate Captain William Kidd was said to have buried booty there valued at some £2 million on the island. I'm not sure if that figure has been adjusted for inflation over time, though. Excavation efforts have continued from the 19th century to the present day, but so far, no treasure has been located there. But if you would like to try for yourself, treasure hunting is allowed on Oak Island, so long as you obtain a license from the Minister of Natural Resources. So happy hunting! 7. Baia tunnels. Now, in ancient Roman days, this town was said to be a real sinful city that actually contained the entrance to Hades. Known as a hedonistic playground for the Roman elite, Julius Caesar even had a permanent vacation home there. By the 8th century, Saracens ravaged the city, and by 1500, it was abandoned. In the 1960s, a couple of archaeologists explored the ruins and discovered a tunnel complex that ran from east to west. Niches for lamps in the tunnel walls were found, along with a ventilation system. It all led to a steep tunnel, at the end of which they found a stream of boiling hot water. A stone projected into the water and seemed to disappear into the darkness. It made the researchers wonder if the doorway to Hades really was located in Baia. Well, it later turned out that the scalding water was produced by volcanic chambers that produced subterranean hot springs. So that's one mystery solved anyway, but another one does remain. Who built those tunnels, and what exactly was the purpose? Tell us what you think in the comments. 6. Antelope Springs footprint. Located in Utah, Antelope Springs is well known for yielding many fossils of trilobites, or extinct marine arthropods. In 1968, an amateur fossil hunter found a fossil that resembled the impression of what appeared to be the sole of a shoe. Below the heel, which was dug in deeper than the rest of the foot, were located 2 trilobite fossils. The shoe-shaped specimen was authenticated to date back as far as 590 million years, and was most likely formed in the Middle Cambrian Wheeler Shale. Researchers exploring the area found mudstone slabs that once formed an entire land area there. The mystery is that whoever was wearing the shoe was standing or stepping on the trilobites, yet there is no evidence that the trilobites had any pressure exerted on them. And since trilobites were marine creatures, that means someone wearing the shoe had entered the area. Now, why they would do so is still unknown, as is whether or not the shoe itself is completely authentic. What do you think? 5. Who was Jack the Ripper? Now, one can argue that this is the most famous serial killer case ever. The name Jack the Ripper was actually taken from letters sent to the police, allegedly written by the murderer. That has never been established, though. Neither has the identity of the killer, also known as Leather Apron and the Whitechapel murderer. What is known is that a series of vicious attacks took place in London's Whitechapel district in 1888. The attacks typically involved females. Criminal profilers of the time hypothesized that the killer may have been an educated upper-class professional, possibly a doctor or an aristocrat who wandered into Whitechapel from a more well-to-do area. Some of the suspects over time have included William Withy Gull, the personal physician to Queen Victoria, Prince Albert Victor, the son of King Edward VII, and even Lewis Carroll, creator of Alice in Wonderland. Well, needless to say that despite the efforts of so-called Ripperologists, the identity of the Ripper has never been conclusively proven, and the killer himself was never found. While it seems the truth may never be known, the story of Jack the Ripper has become one of the most written about true crime subjects ever. 4. Pyramid of Hellinikon. While pyramids and Egypt are pretty well synonymous, the distinctive structures can also be found in Europe, and the continent has more of them than you might think. There are 16 pyramids in Greece, often referred to as the Pyramids of Argolis. The best known of them is the Pyramid of Hellinikon, which was documented as a pyramid-like structure in the writings of Pausanias, a geographer of ancient Greece. There's much about this structure that is still a mystery. Its purpose remains unknown, as does the identity of the people who constructed it. Now, one thing that has been determined is its age. Experts have estimated its date of construction at around 2720 BC, although not everyone does agree with that particular date. But if that estimate holds up, it would mean the structure at Hellinikon could predate the oldest Egyptian pyramid. 3. The Tarim Mummies. The Tarim Basin of China is a desert area where human mummies have been located. Dated back to 1800 BC, the specimens have been remarkably preserved, owing to the dry, arid climate there. The mummies have drawn a lot of interest for some interesting and mysterious characteristics they possess. One such specimen, identified as David, was a tall man with red hair and physical features that were undeniably European. His remains were discovered with those of his son, aged 1 year old. Many of the mummies found in this area have displayed displayed similar European physical traits, including the remnants of hair with color ranging from red to blonde. That is in addition to body features that experts have identified as Caucasian, including elongated bodies, sharp, angular faces, and eyes that could be blue or green. Now, such people would seem out of place in the region, so where did they come from? Researchers think they might be related to Bronze Age peoples that ranged through Central Asia to Russia's lower Volga area. While the point of origin is still a mystery, they may have arrived by way of Central Asia's Pamir Mountains and arrived in the Tarim Basin area. 2. Antony and Cleopatra's Tomb. According to ancient writings, Cleopatra VII and Mark Antony were buried together in a tomb following the deaths. Plutarch, the Greek biographer and essayist, wrote that the tomb could be found near a temple of the Egyptian goddess Isis, and was described as a beautiful monument made of treasures like gold, silver, emeralds, and pearls. In 2010, excavations were conducted at a site near Alexandria, Egypt, at a temple of Osiris. 27 tombs of Egyptian nobles, along with artifacts depicting Antony and Cleopatra, have been found in the vicinity. But the location of the tomb is still unknown. Excavations are ongoing, but some experts have noted that even if Cleopatra's tomb has survived to the present day, it might be unidentifiable due to heavy plundering and looting that occurred over the ages. 1. The Ark of the Covenant. Well, now, anyone who's seen Raiders of the Lost Ark knows what happened to the Ark of the Covenant, at least from Steven Spielberg's point of view. But archaeologists, excluding Indiana Jones, do not actually know just what happened to the legendary artifact. It was said to be held in Jerusalem when the city was conquered in 587 BC by the Babylonians. The army sacked the city and destroyed the first temple in which the ark was allegedly stored. But history is unclear as to what happened to the object. Some ancient sources claim it was hidden prior to the city's invasion, or was carried back to Babylon. And it's entirely possible that it was destroyed during the conflict. Stories and legends have since grown concerning the fate of the Ark, and among the more popular speculations is that the Ark somehow made its way to Ethiopia, where today it is stored and guarded in a treasury. Do you think that could be true?